Stay close to what feels real. That has been the quiet invitation underneath every word you have just read, not to the chaos of overthinking, not to the exhaustion of waiting by the phone, not to the endless loop of what if and maybe and if only, but to the simple, grounded truth of what you actually feel, what you actually deserve, and what is actually unfolding beneath the surface of your life. Stay close to what feels real, not what feels loud. Stay close to what feels true, not what feels exciting in the moment but leaves you emptier afterward. Stay close to your own heart, even when it is tender, even when it is confused, even when it is hopping in ways that scare you. That heart of yours is not your enemy. It is your guide. It has carried you through every hard season you have ever known. It knows things your mind has not yet caught up to. Trust it, not blindly, not recklessly, but trust it more than you trust your fear. Tonight, the person meant for you cannot sleep because of thoughts about you. That is what this message has been about. That is the truth that has been weaving through every sentence, every pause, every moment of reflection. Not a guarantee, not a promise that everything will work out exactly as you have pictured it, but a real, honest, here and now truth. Somewhere in the quiet of their own room, under the same sky but perhaps a different ceiling, they are lying awake while the rest of the world sleeps. They have tried to rest. They have turned off the lights. They have put the phone down. They have closed their eyes and told themselves to let go. But no matter how still the room became, their mind kept returning to you. And that is not happening without a reason. What you do with that truth is up to you. You do not have to chase it. You do not have to sit by the phone refreshing notifications. You do not have to prove anything or convince anyone of your value. Your value was never in question. It never is. It never was. The only question is whether they will rise to meet the worth that has been in front of them all along, whether they will turn their restless thoughts into honest words, whether their sleepless nights will become brave mornings. That is not your work to do. Your work is to stay whole, to stay grounded, to stay connected to the part of you that knows you will be okay whether they show up or not. That is the hardest work and the most important work. That is the work that frees you from needing any particular outcome. That is the work that makes you ready for whatever comes next, whether it is them or something better than you have even dared to imagine. So here is where I leave you tonight. Not with a command, not with a to-do list, not with pressure to figure everything out before you close your eyes, just with a few simple truths to hold onto as you move from this moment into the rest of your night and into the days ahead. First truth: what is real does not disappear. It may go quiet, it may hide beneath the surface. It may take detours and delays and disguise itself as something smaller than it is, but it does not disappear. If there was something genuine between you, it is still there. Not because you are holding onto it, but because real things have a way of persisting. They survive silence. They survive distance. They survive the many attempts to replace them with something newer or easier. They wait. They endure. And then when the time is right, they surface again. That is not wishful thinking. That is the nature of truth. Second truth: you cannot force someone's timing. You cannot make them brave before they are ready. You cannot rush the process of someone coming to terms with their own heart. That does not mean nothing is happening. It means the most important changes often happen in secret in the quiet spaces no one else sees. A realization is already occurring. A shift is already underway. A sleepless night is already planting seeds that may one day become honest words. That is enough for tonight. Let it be enough. Third truth: your peace is more important than your anticipation. You can notice what is happening without letting it consume you. You can be aware of the shift without making it the center of your existence. You can hope without obsessing. You can care without collapsing. That is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. Start practicing tonight. Notice the feelings. Acknowledge them. Thank them for telling you that you are alive and capable of caring deeply. And then gently place them down. You do not have to carry them every second. You can rest. You are allowed to rest. Fourth truth: whatever happens next, you are going to be okay. Not because the story will end the way you want it to. Not because they will finally say the right words. Not because every loose thread will be tied into a perfect bow. You will be okay because you are already whole. You are already enough. You are already held by something much larger than any one person's feelings or choices or sleepless nights. That is not a platitude. That is the bedrock truth that has been holding you up your entire life, even when you did not notice it, even when you doubted it, even when it felt like you were falling. You were being held then. You are being held now. You will be held always. Nothing and no one can change that. Now, before you close your eyes and let the night take over, I want you to do one last thing. Something simple, but something that matters more than you might think. Place your hand over your heart, right where you can feel it beating. That rhythm, steady or racing, soft or strong, is proof that you are still here, still breathing, still present in a world that needs exactly you, not a different you, not a you who has figured everything out, not a you who never feels lost or scared or uncertain. This you. The one reading these words right now. The one who has survived every hard night before this one. The one who is still hopping, still caring, still showing up, even after everything. That you is enough. That you has always been enough. That you will be enough tomorrow and the day after and the day after that, no matter what anyone else does or does not do. Now say this out loud, softly, like a lullaby to your own soul, like a promise you are finally ready to keep. I am still here, I am still whole. I am not defined by who notices me or who loses sleep over me. I am defined by who I am when no one is watching, and I am proud of that person. I am learning to love that person. I am staying close to what feels real, starting with the reality of my own heart. I am allowed to hope, and I am allowed to rest. I am allowed to care, and I am allowed to let go. I am held, I am loved, I am not alone. Say it again if you need to. Let it land. Let it settle into the places that have been bruised by waiting and worn down by hopping. Let it be the last thing you hold onto before you let sleep take you. And then rest, not because everything is resolved, not because you have all the answers, not because the sleepless nights on both sides have been explained away, but because rest is its own kind of trust. Rest is the quiet declaration that you do not have to control everything, that you can let go and still be safe, that you can close your eyes and still be held, that the same God, the same universe, the same mysterious love that has carried you this far will still be there when you wake up. Rest is not giving up. Rest is saying, I have done what I can do tonight. The rest is not mine to carry. That is wisdom. That is strength. That is the kind of quiet courage that changes everything over time. Something is already moving, not just in them, in you, in the space between you, in the unseen places where destinies are woven and timing is arranged and sleepless nights are never wasted. The thoughts they are having about you tonight are not random. The restlessness you are feeling is not meaningless. The pull that neither of you can fully explain is not imagination. It is real. It is happening. It is unfolding in ways you cannot yet see and may not understand until much later, but it is real. You do not have to see it to trust it. You do not have to understand it to receive it. You just have to stay open, stay present, stay close to what feels real, and let the rest unfold in its own time, in its own way, with its own strange and beautiful wisdom that has nothing to prove and everything to give. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are not too much. You are not behind where you should be. You are exactly where you need to be, and so are they. And somewhere in the quiet of this night that stretches between you like a bridge still being built, the person meant for you is lying awake thinking about you. Not because they are trying to hurt you, not because they are playing games, because you matter to them, because something in them knows that something in you matters. Because the heart does not care about convenience or timing or any of the reasons the mind comes up with to stay away. The heart just knows, and tonight, their heart knows your name. Let that be enough for now. Let the mystery be enough. Let the not knowing be enough, because the not knowing is where faith lives. And faith, even faith as small as a single breath, even faith that feels more like a question than an answer, that faith is enough to move mountains, or at least to move one heart closer to another. Maybe yours, maybe theirs, maybe both. Only time will tell. And time, for all its slowness, for all its impatience, for all the nights it has kept you both awake, time is not your enemy. Time is the soil where real things grow. Let it do its work. And while it works, be gentle with yourself. You deserve that, you always have. Good night, sleep if you can, rest if you cannot. And know that somewhere under the same sky someone is thinking of you. Someone is wondering about you. Someone is feeling something they cannot name. And that is not nothing. That is the beginning of something. Whether that something is a reunion, a closure, or simply a deeper understanding of your own heart, it is a beginning. And beginnings, even the quiet ones, even the ones that arrive in the middle of a sleepless night, are sacred. Honor yours. Honor theirs. And trust that whatever is meant to find you will find you. Not a moment late, not a moment early, exactly when it should. You are held, you are loved, you are not alone, and the person meant for you cannot sleep tonight because of thoughts about you. Let that be the last thing you know before you close your eyes, and let it be enough. Let that be the last thing you know before you close your eyes, and let it be enough. Let it be. Not as a passive resignation, not as a giving up, but as a deep, soul-level trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Let it be the way a farmer lets seeds be in the ground, not digging them up every morning to check if they have grown. Let it be the way the night lets the morning come, without rushing, without forcing, without demanding that the sun rise before its time. Let it be the way the heart learns to hope without strangling the very thing it hopes for. You have done enough tonight. You have felt enough. You have thought enough. You have wondered and worried and wished enough. Now it is time to let the rest be held by something larger than your understanding. You do not have to carry the weight of making this happen. You do not have to figure out the perfect words or the perfect timing or the perfect way to position yourself so that they finally see what has been in front of them all along. That is not your job. Your job is to stay whole. Your job is to stay open without falling apart. Your job is to keep living your life, not as a performance for their eventual return, but as an authentic expression of the person you are becoming. And that person, the one you are becoming, is worth knowing, not because of who notices them, not because of who loses sleep over them, not because of who finally comes back with words of regret and hope and second chances. That person is worth knowing because they are real, because they have survived things that would have broken someone else, because they still care, still hope, still love, even after witnessing how cruel and confusing human connection can be. That person is rare. That person is valuable. That person is you. So tonight, as this message comes to an end, I want you to receive something, not a promise about them, not a guarantee that everything will work out the way you want it to, but something better, a truth about you. You are unforgettable. You are deeply lovable. You are worth losing sleep over. You are worth the risk of vulnerability. You are worth the courage it takes to admit that someone matters, not because you are perfect, not because you never made mistakes, not because you said all the right things or showed up in all the right ways, because you are you, the unique, irreplaceable, once in all of eternity you. There is no one else like you. There never has been. There never will be. And that is not arrogance. That is just the truth of how you were made. The person who cannot sleep tonight because of thoughts about you is not confused about whether you matter. They know you matter. What they are confused about is what to do with that knowledge. Fear, pride, timing, past wounds, all of these things can tangle up a heart and keep it from moving forward even when it wants to. That is not your fault. That is not your failure. That is just the messy, complicated reality of two imperfect people trying to find their way toward each other through the fog of their own limitations. But fog does not last forever. Eventually, the sun rises. Eventually, things become clear. Eventually, what was hidden is revealed. And when that happens, when the fog lifts on their side, they will have a choice. Let the clarity turn into action, or let the clarity turn into more regret. You cannot make that choice for them. You can only be the kind of person who is worth choosing. And you already are. You have been all along. The question has never been whether you are enough. The question has always been whether they are brave enough to see it, humble enough to admit it, and mature enough to act on it. So rest in that tonight. Rest in the knowledge that you have done your part. You have cared. You have hoped. You have stayed open in a world that gave you every reason to close. That is not weakness. That is the kind of strength that moves mountains. That is the kind of strength that eventually calls good things toward it. That is the kind of strength that makes you worthy of a love that does not run away, a love that stays, a love that shows up not just in sleepless nights, but in the bright, ordinary, unglamorous daylight of daily life. Now, before you go, before you close this message and return to the quiet of your own room, I want you to do one final thing. I want you to imagine a version of yourself 6 months from now. Not a version that has them or doesn't have them, just a version that is fully alive. A version that has learned to hold hope without being consumed by it. A version that has built a life so rich, so full, so meaningful that anyone would be lucky to be invited into it. A version that does not need anyone to complete them because they have already discovered that they are complete. Imagine that version of you. See them clearly. How do they walk? How do they speak? How do they treat themselves on hard days? What do they believe about their own worth? Now ask yourself, what is one small thing that version of you would do differently starting tonight? Not a huge thing, not an overwhelming thing, just one small shift, one small choice. One small act of self-respect or self-kindness that the future you would look back on and say, that was the beginning. That was when everything started to change. Do that thing tonight before you sleep. It could be as simple as putting your phone down and not picking it up again until morning. It could be as simple as saying out loud, I am enough and I do not need proof. It could be as simple as drinking a glass of water and breathing deeply and reminding yourself that your body deserves care. It does not have to be dramatic. It just has to be real. It just has to be a small step toward becoming the person who does not crumble in the waiting, who does not lose themselves in the hopping, who does not hand their peace over to someone who has not yet learned to handle it gently. That person is already inside you. They are not far away. They are not a future fantasy. They are here in this moment waiting for you to choose them. Choose them tonight. Choose the version of you that sleeps peacefully even when someone else cannot sleep because of thoughts about you. Choose the version of you that wakes up tomorrow and lives fully, not because of what might happen, but because this day, this breath, this life is a gift that does not require any other gift to be complete. And then, somewhere in the middle of choosing yourself, you may find that the waiting becomes lighter, the hope becomes softer, the sleepless nights on both sides become less about anxiety and more about the quiet, mysterious way that real connection hums across distance, across silence, across everything that tries to keep people apart. You may find that you can care and still be free, that you can hope and still rest, that you can love what is not yet certain without losing your grip on what already is. That is the place I want you to land tonight. Not certainty about them, but certainty about you, about your worth, about your capacity to be okay no matter what, about the unshakable truth that you are held by something that does not waver, does not forget, does not abandon. That is your foundation. That is your home. That is where you return when the winds get high and the waters get rough. And from that place, you can face anything, even the not knowing, even the waiting, even the tender ache of caring about someone who has not yet learned to care back in the way you need. So let this be the end, not of hope, not of the story, but of the worry, the obsession, the endless loop of what if and maybe and if only. Let those things fall away like leaves from a tree in autumn. They have served their purpose. They have told you that you care, but they do not need to live in you forever. You can let them go. You can release them into the hands of a God who knows exactly what He is doing, even when you cannot see it. And you can trust that whatever is meant to grow will grow. Whatever is meant to return will return. Whatever is meant to heal will heal, not because of your anxiety, not because of your efforts to control, but because life has a way of moving toward what is real, toward what is true, toward what is good. And you, dear heart, are real. You are true. You are good. And you are deeply, eternally, unshakably loved. Good night, sleep if you can, rest if you cannot, and know this with every fiber of your being. You are not forgotten, you are not alone, and the person meant for you cannot sleep tonight because of thoughts about you. That is real, that is true, that is the beginning of something, but the most important beginning is not theirs, it is yours. The beginning of trusting your own worth so deeply that you never need anyone else to prove it. Start that beginning tonight. Start it now. and let everything else unfold in its own time, in its own way, with its own strange and beautiful wisdom. You are held, you are loved, you are enough, and you are ready, more ready than you know. Go in peace. Because here is what else you need to understand about this night, about this moment, about this strange and tender season you find yourself in. The person who cannot sleep because of thoughts about you is not the only one being kept awake. You have felt it too, have you not? That restless energy that does not seem to have a source. That sense that something is different about tonight, something you cannot quite name. That feeling of being pulled toward thoughts you thought you had set aside. You may have tried to push it away. You may have told yourself you were imagining things. You may have scrolled mindlessly through your phone, hopping to distract yourself back into normalcy. But the feeling remained. A quiet hum beneath the surface of your awareness. A soft insistence that tonight is not like other nights. That is not coincidence. That is not your imagination playing tricks on you. That is connection. Real connection has a way of reaching across distance, across silence, across the walls people build to protect themselves. It does not need phones or messages or any of the tools we use to communicate. It speaks in a different language, the language of restlessness, the language of sudden memories, the language of dreams that leave you wondering, the language of lying awake at the same hour, under the same sky, thinking about the same person without any logical explanation. That language is real. It is ancient. It is the way the heart talks when the mind is finally quiet enough to listen. You have probably been told by well-meaning people to let go, to move on, to stop thinking about someone who is not thinking about you. And that advice makes sense on the surface. It sounds healthy. It sounds mature. It sounds like something a strong person would do. But what if they are thinking about you? What if they have been thinking about you more than they have ever admitted? What if the problem was never that they did not care, but that they did not know how to show it? What if they were scared? What if they were confused? What if they were carrying wounds that had nothing to do with you? Wounds that made it hard for them to trust, to open up, to let themselves feel what they were actually feeling. That would change things, would it not? That would shift the story from "they don't care" to "they care, but they are not yet capable of showing it well." I'm not telling you to wait around for someone who is not ready. I'm not telling you to put your life on hold for potential. But I am telling you to be honest with yourself about what is actually happening, not what your fears tell you is happening. Your fears will always tell you the worst version of the story. Your fears will tell you that silence means indifference, that distance means forgetting, that sleepless nights on their side mean nothing if they are not accompanied by action. But fear does not know everything. Fear only knows what has hurt you before. It cannot see what God is quietly arranging. It cannot feel the shift that is happening beneath the surface of someone else's heart. It cannot measure the courage it takes to finally admit that you were wrong to walk away, that you let something good slip through your fingers, that you have been carrying regret like a stone in your chest for longer than you want to admit. So let me speak directly to the part of you that is afraid, the part that has been hurt before, the part that learned to expect disappointment, the part that would rather expect nothing than hope and be let down again. I see that part of you. I do not blame you for protecting yourself. You built those walls for a reason. But here is what I need you to hear. The walls that kept pain out also kept love out. The walls that protected you from being hurt again also protected you from being truly seen again. The walls that made you safe also made you lonely. And you were not made to live behind walls forever. You were made for connection. You were made for the kind of vulnerability that terrifies you but also gives you life. You were made to be known, truly known, by someone who sees your scars and does not run away. That someone may be lying awake tonight thinking about you, not because they are perfect, not because they have all the answers, not because they will definitely show up the way you need them to, but because something in them knows that you matter. Something in them is tired of pretending you do not. Something in them is waking up from a long sleep of denial and avoidance and fear. That something is small right now. It is fragile. It is easily frightened back into hiding, but it is real, and it is stirring. What do you do with that? How do you hold the tension between staying open to what might be coming and protecting the heart that has already been through so much? That is the question of this season, is it not? Not whether they care, but how you hold the space for that care to become something real without losing yourself in the waiting. Here is what I have learned about situations like this. The healthiest thing you can do is to live your life fully while leaving a small door open. Not a door you stare at all day, not a door you camp out in front of, not a door you rearrange your entire existence around, but a door that is slightly ajar just in case. You go to work, you spend time with people who love you, you pursue your own goals and dreams and joys, you laugh, you cry, you do all the ordinary things that make up a life. And in the background, without obsessing, you remain open. You do not close the door completely. You do not harden your heart into a permanent no. You simply say, I am moving forward, but if you catch up, I will look back. That is not weakness. That is not desperation. That is wisdom. That is the wisdom of someone who knows that love cannot be forced but also does not need to be killed. That is the wisdom of someone who has learned to hold hope with open hands, not clenched fists. That is the wisdom of someone who trusts that what is meant for them will not pass them by, and what is not meant for them will not ultimately satisfy anyway. So tonight, as you sit with the knowledge that they cannot sleep because of thoughts about you, I want you to practice that wisdom. Acknowledge what is happening. Let it matter. Let it touch you. But do not let it consume you. Feel the hope and then place it gently in the hands of whatever you trust. Say, I see what is stirring. I receive the truth of it, but I am not going to build my entire peace on it. My peace is built on something deeper than someone else's sleepless night. My peace is built on the knowledge that I am held, that I am loved, that I am enough, whether they ever find the courage to say what they are feeling or not. That is the kind of groundedness that makes you magnetic. That is the kind of groundedness that allows love to find you rather than chase it. That is the kind of groundedness that lets you sleep at night even when someone else cannot sleep because of thoughts about you. Because you know, deep in your bones, that you are not defined by their thoughts. You are defined by something much larger, much steadier, much more reliable than the shifting emotions of any human heart, including your own. And here is the secret that the most peaceful people know. You can care deeply and still be at peace. You can hope honestly and still rest. You can hold space for what might be coming without abandoning where you are right now. These things are not opposites. They can live in the same heart at the same time. The trick is learning how to let them coexist without one overwhelming the other. That takes practice. That takes intention. That takes learning to say, yes, I feel this, and also I am okay. Both things can be true. Both things are true. So tonight, before you try to sleep again, I want you to do something. I want you to imagine that you are holding two things in your hands. In one hand, you hold the hope, the possibility that this connection is stirring back to life, the hope that the sleepless nights mean something, the hope that courage will come and words will be spoken and the story is not over. In the other hand, you hold your peace, the deep, unshakable knowledge that you are whole, that you are loved, that you will be okay no matter what happens. Now look at those two hands. They are both full. You do not have to drop one to hold the other. You can hold both. That is the balance. That is the wisdom. That is the way through. You are allowed to hope. You are also allowed to rest. You are allowed to care. You are also allowed to let go of the outcome. You are allowed to notice that something is shifting. You are also allowed to keep living your life as if everything is already okay, because in the ways that matter most, it already is. Now let me speak to you about what may come next, not as a prediction but as a possibility. When someone has been lying awake thinking about you, when the thoughts have become too loud to ignore, something usually shifts. Maybe not immediately, maybe not tomorrow, but something changes inside them. They begin to realize that silence is costing them more than vulnerability ever could. They begin to understand that the risk of reaching out is smaller than the risk of never knowing what could have happened if they had been brave. They begin to feel that the door they thought was closed might still be open, and that if they do not walk through it soon, it may close for good. That realization can take time to become action. Some people need to sit with their feelings for a while before they are ready to share them. Some people need to work through their fear, their pride, their shame about how they handled things before. Some people need to become the kind of person who can show up differently before they dare to show up at all. That is frustrating when you are on the other side of the silence. I know that. You want clarity. You want movement. You want words. But sometimes the most important movement is internal. It happens where no one can see it. It happens in sleepless nights and quiet mornings and small moments of courage that do not yet have an audience. That movement is real. It matters. It is preparing the ground for something that may one day break the surface. So while you wait, and waiting is rarely comfortable, I want you to keep tending to your own garden. Keep watering your own roots. Keep growing in the direction of your own light. Do not pause your life for someone who is still finding their way. Do not shrink your world to the size of their hesitation. Expand instead. Grow instead. Become so full, so alive, so present in your own life that when they finally look up, they see someone radiant. Someone who did not need them to survive but might welcome them to share in the abundance. That is attractive. That is powerful. That is the kind of energy that calls love toward it. And if they never look up, if their sleepless nights never turn into brave words, if the door stays ajar but no one walks through, then you have still grown, you have still become. You have still built a life worth living, a heart worth having, a presence that blesses everyone who encounters it. That is not a consolation prize. That is the real prize. The connection you are hopping for is a beautiful thing, but it is not the only beautiful thing. Your life is full of beautiful things. Your breath, your resilience, your capacity to keep hopping even after disappointment, your ability to still care in a world that often rewards indifference. Those things are beautiful. Those things are you. Do not forget that. So here is where I leave you tonight in this second part of the message, with this truth resting gently on your chest. Someone cannot sleep because of thoughts about you. That is real. That is happening. It means something, but it does not mean everything. It is a seed, not a tree. It is a beginning, not an ending. It is a possibility, not a promise. You can honor it without worshiping it. You can hold it without being held by it. You can hope without drowning in hope. And while they lie awake thinking about you, I want you to try something. I want you to close your eyes and place your hand over your heart again. Feel that steady rhythm. That is life. That is yours. No one can take it from you. No one can diminish it. No one can make it less valuable by their absence or more valuable by their presence. It is valuable because it is yours. It is valuable because you are here. It is valuable because you are loved by something larger than any human love, something that does not sleep, something that does not forget, something that has been holding you through every sleepless night of your life and will hold you through every one to come. Breathe that in. Let it fill the spaces where fear has been living. Let it push out the anxiety, the what-ifs, the endless circling thoughts. You are held, you are loved, you are not alone, and someone somewhere in the quiet of their own night is thinking about you. Let that be a soft warmth, not a consuming fire. Let it be a gentle hope, not a desperate need. Let it be what it is, a sign, a stirring, a small beginning, and then let yourself rest. Because even in the sleeplessness, even in the wondering, even in the not knowing, you are exactly where you need to be. And so are they. And something is already moving. Something that does not need your anxiety to help it along. Something that knows the way. Something that will arrive, if it is meant to arrive, exactly when it should. Now rest, really rest. The morning will come, and whatever it brings, you will meet it as the person you are becoming. Whole, worthy, ready, not because of them, because of you. Because of the one who never sleeps, never forgets, never stops working on your behalf. Good night, sleep if you can. And if you cannot, know that you are not alone in the waking. Somewhere under the same stars they are awake too, thinking of you, wondering about you, feeling something they cannot name, and that is not nothing. That is the beginning of something. Let it be.